I could go into the ocean at night with a 3-prong and spear a fish and clean it and cook it and gut it and all that kind of stuff. My uncle used to take us all night diving, which is still one of my favorite things ever. So I do a few different things on Twitch. I do a snack stream. Sundays are my favorite days because I get to snack on stuff. So the idea is that I just try anything that I haven't had before or new snacks. So if it's like a new flavor of cereal or Pop-Tarts comes out with their new flavors or Oreos. So I try all of those and then I review it and talk about it and chat with the people in chat that are watching. And then I also try anything that I miss because growing up in Hawaii, you probably realized that when you got there, the food is pretty different. So there's a lot of stuff that I just grew up never eating. I grew up eating a lot of sushi and Asian food and Asian snacks and lihimoi and Spam. I love Spam. So I missed so many snacks. I didn't have my first cannoli until I was like 26.
Hi, it's Jasmine. You know, that girl who did you know what way before the internet ever existed. Join me and my special guest every week as we talk about anything and everything because nothing is too taboo. So punch your ticket and get on board the Crazy Train with me, Jasmine St. Clair. All aboard!
But there are girls, again, I bring up Amaranth because she's so popular. Mm-hmm. She has been, have you ever heard of, well, Tim Pool's talked about this too, but getting rated?
Getting rated as in
yeah, so
R-A-T-E or R-A-I?
R-A-I-D. So whoa. They get swatted, it's called. People will find out where you live and then call like a threat of some kind so that the SWAT team shows up. People have died that way. It's very dangerous.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's called swatting. She's been swatted a whole bunch. It's so bad to a point where she knows local law enforcement. She's friendly with them. She has their phone number. They have her phone number because she's like, look, this is what I do. This kind of stuff happens. So it's gotten to a point where she has this relationship with the local cops. Mm-hmm. Someone set fire to her house. Yeah, like crazy shit like that happens. Thank Jesus. I'm like knocking on any kind of wood I have around. Nothing like that has happened to me yet. Hopefully it never does. Hopefully
it won't. No. Yeah. But that's weird. Yeah. I've never heard that term because I work on a political podcast as well. Mm-hmm. And there's a term called doxing.
Yes.
Where, so it's almost the same thing. So let's say you gave money to the trucker convoy and I don't like that and I don't like your stances. I will get your address and put it up there online for everyone to see who you are and all that stuff. It's kind of almost the same because it hurts you in another way financially that way. Yes. But that's outrageous. People do that. What even got you into video games? Did you grow up playing anything? What did you play? Pokemon? I see Pokemon over there.
Pokemon's big. Yes. That's my Pikachu back there. Yeah. I grew up playing Pokemon on the Game Boy and Tetris because it came with the Game Boy. But my first real console that I played on was the Nintendo 64. So I played like GoldenEye. I hope anyone listening knows what I'm talking about. They'll be like, what is this girl yammering about? GoldenEye. I loved playing like Banjo-Kazooie. Ocarina of Time was one of the first Zelda games I ever played. So I grew up playing that kind of stuff. I had a lot of, like all my cousins were boys and they were kind of my first and only friends for a lot of years until I got to a certain age. So I definitely grew up doing a lot of what they were doing. And I don't mind. It was a really, really fun childhood. So yeah, grew up playing video games, stopped for a while in like my mid to early adulthood, and then got back into it like 7 or 8 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. And it's been so fun. Growing up is overrated. We have to grow up in so many ways, you know?
We're not growing up. Trust me. I mean, we never do really, maybe just by numbers numerically. And that's it, and maybe on our hands. But did you want to do this? Like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? I know we choose like 10 different things from like ages 5 to like 12 or whatever. Yeah.
The closest thing that I wanted to be that was similar to this when I was a kid was a journalist. I think the two things I cycled through when I was a kid was being a journalist or a lawyer. And I'm glad I didn't go the lawyer route because that's a lot of school, like a lot. And then you get into a lot of debt, but at least it's a high paying career. So journalist or lawyer. And then I sort of, when I got into entertainment hosting, it was at Afterbuzz, which is the network that Maria Menounos has with her husband, Kevin Undergaro. And it's a way for them to give back. She worked at E! She's like a big entertainment host.
Oh no, I know her through a different avenue. I'll tell you when we're actually off the show, but I know her through something else. Yeah, she's great though.
She also wrestled for a little bit too.
Yeah. Something else too. Yeah.
Yeah. She's phenomenal. My husband was her producer for her Sirius XM show, producer and co-host. So yeah, she's a sweet woman. So they wanted to give back to the hosting community. So basically AfterBuzz was this big network that they put together, and they would take in new hosts and give them all these opportunities and different tools for them to get real hosting experience so they could have a real sense. I've gotten to go on so many red carpets that I never would have gotten a chance to ever do. I've interviewed, and you get to sort of choose and sign up for what you want. So it's always usually people that you're fans of, which makes it awesome. I got to interview the last season, I think, or the season before of It's Always Sunny, the season premiere. They did a carpet. I got to interview those guys. That was so cool. I've been to Comic-Con, interviewed the cast of The Boys, just all this kind of stuff that I never would have gotten a chance to do if it wasn't for them. So they were really instrumental in starting this sort of career out for me.
Yeah, it's just crazy how the whole thing kind of snowballs from one small thing to like another. And then it just goes up and up, and you just end up doing things. Like I never thought I'd actually interview my idols. Like I grew up listening to heavy metal. So then interviewing like Judas Priest and like all these other bands, it was like the dream job for so many years. And people they're so like, you seem to be like the most grateful person, one of the most grateful people I've met. Aww. That had that opportunity and recognizes it. I hope you never change for that, for that reason alone, but probably because you're not from LA originally, or like one of these other places where we're just so shallow. But yeah, that's very interesting. And what do you see yourself doing? And I'm sure that that's the question. During the pandemic, did your whole Twitch business pick up? Were people doing the video gaming more? And do you have any intention of perhaps branching out to OnlyFans if you don't
have an OnlyFans?
You do?
I do have an OnlyFans.
Oh my God. Okay. What's on there?
I do a lot of lewd content. So I don't do full nudity, but I do topless and super lewd, which is kind of fun. I like teasing. And also the amount of people that come in, they're like, yeah, I've stopped watching like hardcore porn. And so this is a nice sort of intermediate thing for me. Cause they're like, it's crazy the amount of people that have told me this, which is really interesting. They're like, I've gone too far down the hardcore porn route. And so I really like this kind of content. And there's something out there, truly is something out there for everyone. But I definitely take it to there's a line, and I definitely crisscross over it a little bit. So like I've done blowjob videos with dildos and cock flavored lollipops. It was really good. So I've done stuff like that, and I do a lot of themed sets. That's my favorite. I just shot one where I'm as like a medieval elf, because I'm just a huge giant nerd. So I do anything, fun stuff like that. I like to make them themed. I like to make the quality of it really good. And there's a lot of girls that do that kind of stuff, but it's so fun, and the fans are so cool. And what I like about it is that the people that sign up are typically really big fans of you, and that's why they're signing up. So this is content that, I'm not a porn star, so I wouldn't normally be doing that kind of content. So it's a kind of a cool medium for people who are like, oh, I really like this person. I like what they do. Oh, wow, I get to see this whole other side that, normally wouldn't be out there. So I like it a lot for that. OnlyFans is really fun, and the people are really cool, again, because they're fans. So yeah. And I definitely dream scenario, I would have my own show. I do a podcast right now called Unqualified Experts with my husband, or we'll have different guests on, and it's super fun. We give advice to the internet because there are some people on the internet that are asking some wacky questions. So it's a cross between, you're like, what the fuck? Okay. So it's like a cross between real advice and comedy, because we get really silly with it, but it's so fun. And then I'm starting another podcast with a friend coming up. But dream scenario is I have my own podcast that's really big, like Call Her Daddy. I know that's everyone's dream scenario.
I love it.
Right? Like that's the idea, is you get your own show, you get to be yourself, you get to let your personality sort of shine and make money from it. That's the dream. So that's like big picture. going back to heavy metal though, you got to interview Judas. I got to see Judas Priest live at Ozfest. Yeah. I love Judas Priest.
Yeah, I've seen them a million times. I love it.
That's so fucking cool that you like metal. I love that.
No, I always like breast. Like I'm basically breastfed on heavy metal. Like my first show was Black Sabbath. My babysitter took me. I still have the baseball jersey from that show. It was a size large. I was like 8 or 9 years old, something in that era. And I still have the jersey. Same with a Rush jersey. And some girl comes up to me in the street during the pandemic to boot. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that's like such a cool jersey. Where'd you get it? Did you get it at Hot Topic? It's like, bitch, listen, I had this while you weren't even a sperm in your dad's ball sack. And I had this jersey. So don't even ask me. And I'm just like going off. I'm like, okay. So just.
Does that drive you crazy when you see these young kids wearing band t-shirts of bands they don't know? It is one of my biggest pet peeves. It drives me insane.
I only got called out once on that. No. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I went up to a guy. He looked like a nerd with short hair and glasses and his backpack. He's all neat and put together. He had a Carcass t-shirt on. A Carcass is like extreme grindcore metal. And I went over to him. I said, so why are you wearing a Carcass shirt? Name one song and one album, please. Then he's like, oh yeah, hard work. He said, Jasmine, you do know me. I'm like, what? How do you know me? He's like, you know me. I used to go to shows. So then he told me who he was. I'm like, well, why do you look like, what are you doing? No,
like, what is this look?
Yeah. What are you doing? He's like, I couldn't wear the contacts anymore. I'm actually getting surgery and I had to cut my hair for my job. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. It's good seeing you. Bye. And I just walked. Oh, no. Why have you gone out to anyone? Like, what's your whole take on that with these idiots in shirts that have no idea?
It's just weird. It's just a weird concept to me. I would never wear a Halsey shirt because I don't know anything about her and I don't know anything about her music. And that's just such a I'm like, why would you? But there was a girl. So I was working at this restaurant. You might know it actually in LA called Blue Jam Cafe. Yep. I worked there for years. Oh, the food is so good. And the money is good working there too. But I worked there for years. And I just remember there was this one girl that was wearing an Iron Maiden hoodie. Now I really love Iron Maiden. They're a fucking, so I got all excited and I'm like, oh my God. So usually I go in with nice intentions. I'm like, oh my God, I love Iron Maiden. I was like, do you have a favorite song or a favorite album or anything? And she just goes, oh, I don't, old guys come up to me and say this all the time. She's like, I don't know the band. I just really like the sweater. I think she got it at like PacSun or something. And I was like, what the fuck? Why? It's so obnoxious. But I guess they're selling it at these shops to look trendy and these kids are buying it, probably sometimes not even knowing that it is a band. They're just buying the shirt because they're like, oh, cool. And they have no fucking clue because Iron Maiden is an 80s metal band. Like I understand if you're fucking born in 2007, you're like, who is that? I don't know.
Unless your parents, gave you an album.
Unless your parents. Yeah. That's how I found out about Iron Maiden is from my dad. I stole he had the Alexander the Great CD and that was my introduction to Iron Maiden. I'm seeing them in October for the first time. I'm so hyped.
It's a good show. I'll probably go to the show this year. I've seen them so many times. When I lived in Europe, I saw them quite a few times as well, but it's going to be a good show. And I remember with Kim Kardashian. So I was working on a metal radio show at this time when Kim Kardashian and that man, which man was it? Kanye, they both had Iron Maiden shirts, Metallica. Then I found out that their stylist was a metalhead and metal fans are super loyal. So they were hoping to get those fans to that plastic-headed sea donkey and her husband at the time. So the plastic-headed sea donkey.
That's
it's just amazing. One of these many terms I come up with. When it's this hour of the morning, trust me, I get going and I can go. Then after that, then I usually crash out for a few hours and I get back up when I'm done going. But yeah, that's true. It's admirable that you stand up for the the cause of metal. Absolutely. And
just like the band, if you're know them if you're gonna wear the shirt. Just
yeah, you hear that? Bit. You freaking you posers. Okay. So yeah, I do this other thing. I have a political podcast as well. So that's the other time I get amped up is then when I get into the whole political thing, then I crash for a few hours. And even if a friend just calls me up to start talking about politics, I get like a little kid, then I crash out again. So people, for some reason over the past few weeks, are like, is she on drugs? It's like, no, she gets amped up, then she like crashes out, then she gets amped up again, then can't go to sleep. Then Okay, so now I'm okay.
Getting worked up. You're like, okay, I gotta calm down. No, I do too.
Yeah, exactly. So I want you to tell everyone what the name of this podcast is that you're doing. And I want to know more about this Call Her Daddy podcast.
I don't know that much about Call Her Daddy. I've never actually listened to it. That's the girl, Alex Cooper. She got that with oh God, what's her name? Sophia with an F. She fucked up hardcore. Do you remember when that whole thing happened and Call Her Daddy Call Her Daddy was, I guess, building its own sort of following. And then Barstool Sports found them, and someone's going to definitely write me and be like, you're wrong about how this happened. This is just as I know it and what I remember of it. But so it started to get a bigger and bigger following on Barstool Sports, and it became this very popular podcast.
Oh.
And they have, I think that they started if I remember correctly, the first contract that they signed was $70,000 a year to be on Barstool Sports. And then it started doing so well that by the time they left there, they were making like $500,000 a year each, like over $500,000 a year each. And the one girl, Sophia, her boyfriend got in her ear, I guess. And she was like, you should be making more than that. You need to be making like $1 million a year. And it turned into this big thing. And she ended up leaving the podcast. She ended up leaving the show. And I shit you not, like maybe 6 months after, the podcast got bought by Spotify for $60 million.
Oh, well, he was a good suitcase pimp. Yeah, it sounds kind of uninteresting. You'll do like way better with whatever you come up with.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure about that.
I hope. I mean, that'd be amazing. Golly, if anything offered me even $500,000 a year for my podcast, I'd be like, I can make that much doing something I love, really. Let alone $60 million a year. Holy shit! It's a very popular podcast. And the only thing that I really know is that Alex Cooper is so beautiful. I follow her on Instagram and I just simp all day long. But yeah, that would be ideal. That would be ideal.
Or you can come up with something different and cooler.
Yeah. I definitely don't want to do the same thing. Thank you.
You will.
I do really like Unqualified Experts a lot. It's very, very fun. And I like giving out advice and hearing the ridiculous things that happen to people. Some of it is sad.
Okay. So yeah, I did a podcast like that once. I was a guest on it. It was Bad Counsel.
Okay.
So yeah, we were COUNSEL. You should actually hook up with those guys. So we did this thing where the fans were texting and like emailing these really weird questions, and we were giving advice. It sounded super realistic, but we just really hope no one tried like some of the stuff we're telling them to. So hopefully, you get something, you get the same type of craziness with your podcast as it builds momentum. I'm excited for you. So you're by far one of the youngest entrepreneurs that I've met that actually makes sense. And I've never met a nerd that looks like you. Absolutely not. So tell everyone where they could find you on the World Wide Web and about this OnlyFans. And oh, by the way, real quick, guys, with the whole OnlyFans thing, hardcore porn is like so overrated. Like, what are they going to start doing next? Killing people, like snuffing people out. So when they say there's nowhere to go next with that, they're 100% correct.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a weird where I really like what I do. And even if I do decide to take things a little bit farther in the future, I would like to keep it kind of this, I want to keep it fun. And I did have one of my subscribers gave me one of the best compliments ever. And it was really sweet what he said. I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much. He's like, look, you undersell your OnlyFans. He started off by telling me that he's like, a lot of these porn girls, they do this stuff, but they don't know how to be sexy. And he was like, you're so sexy and the way you act. And it was just the way he said it was so incredibly kind. I was like, wow, thank you. I'm going to steal that. So thanks for saying it.
I don't have an OnlyFans. I don't want one because people are going to expect nudity. I don't want to be freaking taking my damn clothes off. I haven't done that in like years and years and years. I don't even get naked at home. Like, what the hell? So
you're like, I'm not going to get naked for you.
Yeah, seriously. So tell everyone where they could find you on the World Wide Web and about your whole schedule with your Twitch. And if you have a name for it, the page.
I do. Yeah. So I try to keep it easy. So it's pretty much the same across every platform. It's Xialand, Xialand. So it's just my name. And the whole idea is that it's the land of Zia and all the things that I love and enjoy, kind of like a Zia theme park. So you can find me on Xialand everywhere. You can find me on YouTube, where Unqualified Experts is, at Xialand, Xialand. Same thing on OnlyFans and same thing on Twitch. So I do the Twitch streams. My regular streaming days are Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Sometimes I throw in a Wednesday stream, but it's not all the time. So I do Sundays are snacking, Mondays are working out, and Tuesdays are gaming. So we kind of hit all the buttons there. And yeah, OnlyFans, also Xialand. If you find that you like me and you want to support me, it's a great way to support me. And then you get to see more cool content like that. And on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Zia_land, XIA_land. If you want to keep up with some stuff. I just shot an elf set and I'm so excited about it.
I think that's great. I think they're awesome. Elves are cute. Ronnie James Dio reminded me of an elf or a gnome at one point.
See that?
I always thought he had elf eyes, really.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Oh yeah, and your workout. What do you do in your workout? And do you drink like any of those crazy colored like pre-workout powders or crazy flavors? You should come out with your own.
I should. One that doesn't have caffeine. I drink like a cup of coffee in the morning, and that is all the caffeine that I can have because I have severe anxiety that sometimes I go through periods of time where it's not so bad. And then other times I go through times where it's crazy. Pre-workout I would just be in a ball on the floor freaking out because I'd be like, my body can't handle that. But I do like HIIT style training. So I do, because I just got some weights for the house, but I lift weights at the gym. But when I'm at home, I just do like high intensity interval stuff or dance workouts that I look absolutely ridiculous doing, but they're very fun.
Good. I did the HIIT like once or twice. I did the Pilates in the gym, and then